So hello friends, Charlie here from Base Miami. I wanted to welcome you to our video series where we'll be discussing all things related to expansion into the US market. And today we'll be having a chat with Rebecca Danta. She's the managing director at Miami Angels. That is the largest angel network in Florida. And what they do is fund seed and Series A technology companies with early traction across various sectors. And they have already deployed $13.6 million into 33 companies since 2014. So Rebecca, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, and you know, I wanted to start first learning a little bit about your ideal Miami Angel investor. How could you describe what an ideal investor is?
Absolutely. So today, the makeup of our group, first of all, everyone is accredited investors in the group. And then there's kind of three profiles of members today. One is professional investors, and within that we have VC funds, like early stage funds, because for them, for our membership dues, they're basically getting another full-time analyst on their team because of the amount of deal flow that we see. Within the category of investors, well, we have family offices and individual angel investors. Then we have entrepreneurs. So folks who have run companies, they've done it somewhat successfully and now have some capital to invest and want to give back. And then the third profile, they're just executives. Those are the ones who are doing this more as a hobby. They're interested in it and they want to also give back as well. All of our members like being actively involved in the companies that they invest in and their investments, which is why they choose to angel invest rather than be LPs in funds.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that it's not only the investment, but also the brains and the knowledge that they can add to the startups that they choose to work with.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And I wanted to ask you about Latin America in particular. As you know, that's one of our main markets. And are you guys actively looking now for deal flow from Latin founders? And what attributes do you look into when investing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have been US focused, but being in Miami, there's always kind of been a bridge with Latin America. And now we're starting to look more actively. So we would love to see deal flow from Latin America as well. What we look for in an investment, typically our thesis is it's all about the founder because we're investing at the early stage. We understand that products pivot and things can change, but we want to back the right person. So that's the most important thing. Our due diligence is really around getting to know the founder and their vision for the company. The other things that we look for is their projections. Is this a venture capital type of company where we can get venture capital style returns? We look at competition, how well funded are the competitors, and we also try to understand the product as well.
Mm-hmm. So you do the whole works then.
But most important is the team. We always say team over product.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with that. And in terms of, we talked before, like, so it's the money, but it's what else? Like, what do you think that Miami Angel can bring to work or to help the founders?
So I actually launched something at Miami Angels in 2019 called the Talent Scout. So to me as an angel investor, the biggest help that we can provide is helping get them to that next round of funding. So something that we're always actively doing is connecting with later, like C plus Series A type of investors, so that once the company has raised capital from us and they've grown and they're ready for the next round, we can support with those intros. But apart from that, we help with hiring. So like I said, I started the Talent Scout, which is a talent newsletter that connects founders to awesome talent, because we noticed a gap in the market that tech recruiters just didn't understand often what early stage startup founders are looking for. They're better at the growth stage, but the early stage, you need someone who's scrappy, who can wear many hats, do so many things. And also it's out of the price range for startups, what a recruiter costs. So it's a free resource that not only do I offer to our portfolio companies, but to startups in general. And if anyone wants to get on the newsletter, you just go to www.talentscout.miami, and there's a link that you can fill out and say that you're interested in receiving it.
That's awesome. So if anybody's looking for a job in the startup world in early stage, especially, they can go, you said?
It's a marketplace. So if you are looking to hire, your company looking to hire, then you can get on the mailing list. And if you're looking for a job in a startup, then you can fill out like an interest form. And then we take interviews with people who kind of fit the profile of what we're looking for.
That's cool. And is that a question, just out of curiosity, is it a global marketplace? Like, for example, somebody in Chile or Colombia could apply for it, or it's a US based only?
It's a great question. When we started, it was actually only Miami focused. It was about keeping and bringing talent to and in Miami. But now most tech jobs, people aren't being asked to move for work, or so many jobs have become remote. So right now it's honestly open. The majority of the companies are based in Miami, but the talent recently has been from all over the place.
Awesome. That's cool. Well, afterwards you'll give me the address again, and we'll put it on the post, because I'm a true believer also in the talent that is out in Latin America. I'm constantly, networking and talking to people there, and I see and the potential for them, for people in Latin America to work with US-based companies is great as well. So that could really interest some of the audience that we talk to. So cool. And in terms of what you were mentioning, Miami as kind of the place for the talent and attracting talent to Miami. Do you think that Miami has, let's say, what it takes for Latin companies to be able to expand into the United States? And if you do, why do you think that Miami is a good place for that?
So I'm biased, but I absolutely think Miami's the best place for a Latin founder to come. Also, a large part of it is because of the networks that many Latin founders already have here. You're not always starting from scratch. And then there are just so many Latins in Miami that you don't face necessarily some of the prejudice that you would in other places.
Yeah, I always say that actually the US starts in Fort Lauderdale and up. Everything down from there is still kind of Latin America.
Miami's another world. I always say Miami kind of has the very, very much like Latin culture, but at the same time, it has some of the best stuff of the US too. So it's very unique.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a great place. We call it as a beachhead for your US expansion. It's like where you get you don't leave home completely, but you're already in the American market. So yeah.
Yes.
And what do you think that are, for companies that are looking to come to Miami, what are the things priority that they need to demonstrate to investors before they are ready to maybe market in the US?
Yeah, so very often many investors want to see that you've already established and are already growing the market here before they're going to invest. Many don't want to fund just the expansion. So it's really important to show that you have a team here, a team that understands the market, that you've been able to segment your customers. Because even if you're going after US Hispanic, the behaviors are completely different than Latins in Latin America and then Hispanics in Latin America. So you need to show that you're going to differentiate and segment the customers, that you're going to market in a different way, that you have a really well thought out plan and sales strategy.
So you think that planning and strategy are a key element in all of this?
Yeah, that just shows that you've studied it, that you're not copying and pasting what you've done in Latin America and trying to do it in the US, and that you have people on the team that have demonstrated experience selling in the US too.
Cool, yeah, and I think it's the market fit part, right? Is there a market fit, and how can you prove that there's a market fit? That's part of the things that we work with our companies as well. And in terms of the famous, everybody talks about, for investors, you have to have a great deck. So what are your, I don't know, you have 2 or 3 pointers of like, okay, what do we want to see in an investor's deck?
For the pitch deck. So it's similar to resumes. We've all received resume advice growing up, right? And there's a million different, as when you get in the details, there's so many different opinions and ways to do it. But it's similar to resumes in the way that the person on the receiving end looks at a lot and needs to grasp everything in about 30 seconds or less. So the most important thing to me in a pitch deck is that after I read it, and we spend more than 30 seconds on it, but at first glance, it's 2 to 3 minutes. And in that time, I need to understand what the company does. And it seems obvious, but it's shocking the amount of times that I get through the deck and I'm like, what are they solving? What does the company do? And what's their current traction? Those are the 3 things that I'm trying to understand just right away from the company. So it's critical that you do that. And the advice that I always give people is send your deck to someone who has no clue what you're doing, anything about tech and startups, and see if they understand what you're trying to say in there.
It's like, yeah, if your 6-year-old kid can understand it, then it might be. and question from that, Rebecca, because you're saying, so how many pitch decks do you see, I don't know, per day, per week, per month?
Well, per month, we track it on a per month basis, and we have about like 80 qualified leads per month. If you look at unqualified too, it's probably 120 or something like that.
And what do you mean by unqualified lead and a qualified lead?
We get very random stuff to our inbox. So we count things that are like tech startups, basically, that are within our thesis.
All right. So, but meaning, okay, when you get the email, you look at it, and if it's like, okay, this is not even a real thing, then that's an unqualified lead. And then so the real startups that could be candidates,
exactly.
80 per month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we have our email on the website. We don't make it complicated to talk to us. Send us your pitch deck. We don't have a complicated application process either. We try to not have a lot of barriers between us and founders.
Okay, and then finally, I wanted to ask you, just as an aside, you know that this videos go out mainly to a Latin founder audience that is, thinking about or already trying to break into the US market, having Miami as a base. What do you think that it takes for them to be successful in the US?
Be customer obsessed. Every journey, like the user experience, the user journey, there's a lot of competition here, and the people, when you create like user loyalty, that's how you're going to win.
So be customer centric. That's the main thing that you would say. Awesome. Okay, Rebecca. Well, I've really enjoyed our talk. Thanks so much for the time and for your openness to share. I know you're doing great things with Miami Angels, and better things are to come. So, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing from more startups.
Sure.